Hello artists. Today we are going to be starting some tutorial or some lessons on some of the acrylic painting techniques associated with this unit. We're going to start first with broken color. Now you can watch your videos in any order. These are the techniques we're going to be going at. Each video is probably going to be about 10 minutes long. That's our goal here. So here's what you're going to need before you start today. Number one, you need your exploration sheet that you're doing here with your different techniques. You need to have them sketched and blocked out. You need your reference image. You're going to need a cup of water. You're going to need a few different brushes today. So you're going to want two flats, one kind of like a mid-size flat, one a smaller flat, and then you might want a larger round and a thinner tipped round, okay? In addition to that, you're going to want your colors. So keep in mind, we don't want to be wasteful with our paint, so this is an appropriate amount. Any more than this, and it's probably going to be too much. You should be working in one of the Stay Wet palettes so that your paint will stay fresh from day to day and you can reuse that color. All right, so broken color is basically what it sounds like. You're breaking up your color and you're layering it on. And if you look at the examples I have up in the classroom or I've given to you in some way, shape, or form, you'll notice that every artist kind of handles broken color in a different way. And that's because every artist uses different kind of brush strokes. So Vincent van Gogh used long, thin lines. Monet used short dabs. Paul Cézanne used longer, bigger areas of overlapping color. But the idea here is that, yes, you're probably going to mix some colors on your palette, but you're also going to let a lot of colors optically mix together. And part of the great thing about it is there's a lot of room for experimentation. One of the challenging parts about it is there's no one right way to do this. So I'm going to show you my way, but I want you to feel free to experiment and develop your own style. All right, so beyond just how you layer on the paint, it's also how much do you mix and pre-mix your colors. I like to try to go straight from the tube, which usually you don't do in acrylic painting. You mix your colors, but I use a lot of them pure from the tube, or I'm going to kind of like half mix them on my brush. So you're going to see as I go through here how I kind of do this. So I like to start with the darks first and build my way up to the lights. That's just the easiest. You always start in the background foreground. So you want to deal with anything that's in your negative space first. So if I have my shadow showing, I would probably work on that shadow first. But before I start the leaf or the stem, I need to make sure I do the area around. So I'm going to look at my dark tones, and this is where you can layer in any color you want. Now, if I wanted to be more representational, I would use darker greens, but if I want to be more experimental, I can use blues, purples, whatever colors. I'm actually going to mix up like a blue-green, and you just layer on. So again, it's just blocky. You're layering in color. So I'm going to go anywhere there's dark colors. I'm going to take this dark blue-green. I'm not going to blend it out much. I'm going to let it overlap. So you're still kind of painting on some base tones. You're going to see how this works here in a minute. And this is why having that blocked in color is really important. Now you're going to notice I'm using not very much water at all. And I'm layering on. Now I'm going kind of like the Cézanne route, and I'm using short blocky colors. I'm kind of just looking where the darks and lights are. There's some darks here, darks come up there, the darks even kind of come up here. Now don't worry about that bright spot, we're going to get back to it. I'm just worried about my darks right now, but whatever you do, you want to make sure you're using the same kind of brush stroke. And I can mix colors together. I can use some of that dark green. I can even maybe, if I want to, I can use some of that dark brown. The key thing is to just look at your values. Not worry so much about the colors necessarily, but your values. So if it's a dark color, make sure you use a dark color, but you can vary it up. You can use purples or blues. I'm just layering in those dark colors. Again, I'm going the Cézanne route. I'm using kind of like dabs. Notice I'm not blending any of this. I'm not smoothing it. Yes, you can use black. I'm just on a kick lately where I don't like using black. I can always add more color. Now you don't want dry brush, so if your brush gets really, really dry, you may need to put a little bit of water on your brush, but I'm just layering in that color. I'm layering it in, looking at where it gets darker or lighter. It gets really dark in here, so I'm going to go with my darkest color, which happens to be the brown. I'm going to layer in more. All right, so I like to do my darks first, and then I'm going to rinse that off. Now I want to start layering in my light tones, my lighter areas. And you can let some of that base color show through, but now I'm going to go through and I want to make a really pale yellow, yellowy green. But you're going to see I'm going to do some crazy things here in a second. I'm also going to I'm going to create like an orange color to give me some highlights. I'm mixing up a little bit of an orange. Just because I want some variety. I want, like, where it's bright at, I want to use bright colors, but I don't have to worry that the apple is green. I can use whatever colors I want. So I'm like, I really want to layer in. Now you're going to get some blending here because I would let these colors dry before I went in and started layering in more, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to. Ooh, create some visual interest, adding those unconventional colors. Again, my colors are mixing a little more than I'd like them to, just because this base layer is not dry. And then I'm going to go even lighter if I want to. Now I'm just going to go straight yellow. Going straight yellow. Layering in that yellow. This is why some of these end up being very impasto-like. Impasto means, remember, that texture, the paint is so thick, it's literally jumping off of the canvas. Now, if my colors need to get even lighter, I can pre-mix, so I'm gonna mix this kind of pinky color and my yellow color, and I'm gonna take some of my white, really mixing that together. Make it even whiter. Again, I would want this to dry, but for sake of time, I'm not going to let it, because I want to get moving. I want to try to get on to some more videos for you. Just letting that color optically mix, having some fun with it. The nice thing about acrylic paint is if you mess up, guess what? You just paint over it. You just paint over it again. And you can always go back over and rework areas that need some nice bright white. Ooh, that's nice. Getting my bright tones in there, letting it optically mix. I'm not blending it. I'm letting those colors lay on top. I like the dabbing method. If you want to do more like Van Gogh style and you want to layer in your line, I kind of show you if I was going to be Van Gogh like. This is where I would want those rounds. I wouldn't want one of the flat brushes if I'm going Van Gogh style. He would use lots of lines to layer in, lots of lines. And hey, maybe you want to combine the two. Maybe you want to develop your own where I'm going to do line and that short choppy. So, but I would definitely take the time before you start your actual painting, and we'll talk about that when we get down here where it says your artist. We'll talk a little bit about what that means and how you should kind of do a little prepping and research. I'm still going to go back in. Notice I got to go back in and do some of my darks. I want a little to light some places and doing my dabs. That's okay. Then I would definitely let this dry. And then I go on with what's closest to me now. Well, then I would attack that leaf. And I'm going to make the leaf, I want the leaf all nice and blue. Let that blue show through. I'm actually going to mix up a little bit of purple here. Oof. Layer in some purple. Ooh, that's nice. I like that color. Dabs, lots of dabs. Then I'm going to start working in my lighter tones. See, where is it light? Ooh, there's a kind of a nice, cool reflection there. I'm going to, ooh, that's nice. Just being experimental. And maybe I'll do my stem last. I'm going to do a reddish brown dab there. And I'm going to take my small round. Oh, I guess I have my small round. I'm going to add a little accent, a little highlight up at the top. Ooh, I'm going to do it pink. Nice light pink. Burp. There we go. All right, so essentially that is broken color. Have some fun experimenting. If you mess up, you just start over. Just paint over it, start over again.